With that being said, let's jump straight into Trouble in Paradise is what I call this segment. Uh, a whole lot of people look like they're about to be traded at the trade deadline. One thing about
Do
the
they?
NBA, well, possibly, it's a lot of mess going on at the trade deadline. Um, One thing that you do have is Jimmy trade. Saw that three. Jimmy requested a
Correct.
trade. He basically, and we saw was we saw that coming as he basically told everybody at the press conference after the game before his 7 game suspension that uh he does not have the joy of playing basketball anymore in Miami, even though Pat Riley came out there and said that this is false. They're not going to trade him. Uh, I wonder where Jimmy ends up. What's your thoughts on this, and where does he end up?
Well, at first, on his face, I look at this and think to myself, here we go, Jimmy Butler, unhappy again. But then when you kind of take a deeper look at it, Jimmy carried this team for 2 years, took them to the finals, and the Heat really haven't done anything to help him out.
They got him
Bam
Bam
is
and said,
cool,
"Figure it out."
but Bam was there first, right? When Bam, yeah, Bam was there first. Jimmy Butler got there. The only real addition they even attempted to make, which we all said from day one was a terrible addition, was Kyle Lowry. Miami hasn't done really much to help Jimmy get over the hump, and Jimmy puts his team on his back every night. So I can understand his frustrations of, yo, I'm running out of time. And instead of you helping me out, you just put more pressure on me and don't give me any more help. And I mean, we have to be real. Bam is good, but Bam isn't really a superstar. And Jimmy needs something better than Bam. And I think that Bam has probably played out of position his entire career, or he just haven't had enough help in the front court. One of the two.
I think it's is part of it is they didn't get him a lot of help and he carried them, and then the second part is everybody else around you. Well, a lot, not everybody. A lot of teams around you have gotten better. Boston has made moves every year to get better. New
Right.
York has made moves. That's your rival. When you think about 90s basketball, New York, Miami, 2000s basketball was it. New York gotten better.
Orlando.
I was getting there. Or
Orlando is the one
yeah,
that's the one that's put
Orlando.
the pressure.
The
That's in
the
your state. They came right on around the corner and just said, I mean, they did the same thing to us and said, hey man, we're the young kids on the block. We came here to knock y'all off. And Jimmy is looking like, hey, get me some help. All of their whole team is like 6'8" and better. Dribble, pass, and shoot.
Cleveland has passed them. Uh,
Oh,
and
zoomed.
so he's getting older. He's looking around. He's seeing all of these other teams get better and younger. And I mean, at this point, they struggle with the Hawks, and the Hawks are. We have been the definition of mid. Like we have
Right.
literally been in the middle of the Eastern Conference every year.
And,
So
and they have always kind of bullied us. So you're right. Like right now, we're 18-18, they're 17-17. I mean, the Bulls is right there on their back.
and Jimmy's not for that. And one thing Jimmy's not gonna do is waste any time. He's gonna if you're not gonna do it, he's gonna make it known that he's ready to go.
Jimmy's trying to win perpetually, and the Heat are trying to. They really trying to do him bad. They know that nobody else has the cap space to sign him, so they're just really trying to get him to come back at a reduced rate. I mean, some of it is just business. You got to ask that you're not going to negotiate against yourself, but the one thing that Jimmy can do is set your team on fire, and that's what he's done.
Also, you see, I don't know if y'all for those that are listening, I'm gonna describe this. For those that are watching, I'm highlighting where we got this post from. It says via Shams Charania. Shams replaced Woj at ESPN. He has been really good and actually has rivaled Woj for the past few years as dropping NBA insider information. I want to say almost 2 months ago. It might have been November, might have been October. November, December. Shams dropped a tweet and said Jimmy Butler will request a trade. He is not happy. I'm hearing that he's about to leave. Miami is blah, 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 blah. He basically called this. Jimmy Butler's agent went on a thread and basically had a whole conversation with himself on Twitter and bashed Shams and said, yo, show me your sources. Your sources are trash. You're wrong. That's a lie. And called him amateur and insulted him professionally. Mighty quiet now that this has come out.
Well, I mean,
privately or publicly, I'm all for if you do something publicly. If you admonish somebody publicly and you're wrong, you should apologize publicly. But you owe Shams an apology.
But what it sounds like to me, and of course, this is all speculation, is the Heat and Jimmy had a private conversation, and then the Heat leaked the information to Shams, and Jimmy his team was like, "Bro, So
that probably was the end of it. Now that you talk about it, if you say it that way, that was the end of the. You could probably match that up too,
right? Yo, we had a private conversation, and whatever the conversation was, you leaked the conversation to Shams, then I'm gonna deny until I die. And also, I want out now. And that's the reason it goes from I want out and I want to go to X, Y, and Z to I want out and I want to be away from all of you.
And I'll go anywhere.
Because you're like, now I can't trust you. And Pat Riley has a history of running off their number one. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's the thing with him. And that's why this situation is probably untenable now. But just like in many other situations, when you know that this guy has to get out, you trade for peanuts. And Pat Riley don't want to trade for peanuts, but what does that do? What does that do for Bam? What does that do for Kevin Love? Kevin Love got a chip though, so it's a little different. Bam is just like, oh, I just got to sit here and go play hard every day for what? Jimmy's not coming here. Like Jimmy's not, and Jimmy's gonna make everybody miserable because so you're actually doing two people bad.
Bam is gonna end up somewhere that's gonna piss everybody off. Although Jimmy. Pat Riley's, no, I know Jimmy going. Jimmy, they gonna do Jimmy bad. They gonna send Jimmy to Utah. Like they gonna do Jimmy bad. But Bam, they may try to build around Bam. But I mean, I don't necessarily see that.
If I'm Bam, I want out too. Honestly.
And that's what I'm saying. And Bam may end now if he tries to force his way out. Pat Riley is so vindictive. I do think that he'll send him anywhere. But Bam makes anybody a contender. Any team that you add Bam to right now, they become any team that's right now in the playoff hunt becomes a contender. Really, even not in the playoff hunt. Any team.
But I think that Bam is going to play this on the, when your sibling get in trouble, so you try to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bro, I ain't going to get into what y'all got going on. I see the writing on the wall. Y'all ready to go in a different direction. Just help me. If you help me get to a good situation, I'll make my part easy for you. But I see that with this what we're doing now, it ain't going to work for us. And I've been here and I've been a good soldier. I hope that means something in our relationship. That's up to Pat Riley. But also, Pat Riley, if you continuously do this to people, people ain't gonna go to Miami now.
It'll be the end of your regime. They'll usher you out. I mean, they'll retire your jersey. They'll give you, they won't usher you out, but they'll basically send you out to pasture. And the corporate way that they send you out to pasture, strip you of all of your duties, all of your responsibilities, and all of your power.
Oh, Bam, have a seat. Bam, have a seat.
Yeah,
34 million,
right?
37 million, 50. No.
You got that extension.
Listen, 34 million. No, listen. 34 million, 37 million, 51, basically 52 million, 56 million, 60 million. You're a Miami Heat player, dog.
Yeah, they got They got you.
I ain't paying you $60 million, Bam, in 2028, 2029. You smoking dope.
Ooh, well, let me ask you this question. Since we here, speculate, and because we got, I'll try not to let this go on too long. But they are starting to look at expansion franchises. Expansion franchises in Las Vegas. Bam has a reason to want to go to Las Vegas. I can say now. I don't know if they do the expansion draft like they used to, where you pick a player off of.
Yeah, it's gonna be you elect the players who are. Yeah,
I can see that happening.
that's a salary dump for sure. And I like Bam, but I ain't paying him 50. I
But you
he
also
ain't what
risk of
he
not getting anything back if you do that. I think you only get a compensatory pick.
cap space, cap space. Just jettison him. Just I'm gonna tell you right now, he getting paid 34 million this year, 37 million next year. After that, this contract is terrible.
Even
Moving
with the jump
on
in salary cap.
from don't care. Give me the money to spend on a better player. There'll be new players by then.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm good
Well,
on Bam. That's a salary dump for me for sure.
not my problem. We gonna see what the Heat do. It is what it is. Y'all built this. You are a product of your decisions. I have literally lived through that all football season, so I stand by it. So it is what it is. Another of your decisions. The Phoenix Suns are basically at a crossroads. They have the highest salaried roster. They have 3 players that make $40-50 million, somewhere in there, between $40 and $60 million a year. One of them is Bradley Beal, who we said we didn't understand that addition when they made it. They could have made so many more additions except for Bradley Beal. Now it seems that the Phoenix Suns, one, are benching Bradley Beal. They benched Yusuf Nurkic, which means they're trying to keep them healthy because both of them are injury prone, in my opinion, because they're trying to break this up and actually break up this big three of Booker, Durant, and Beal. And I think Beal will end up being sent somewhere else.
Yeah, so for this situation is a little bit more nuanced to me. They started building this team pre-second apron rules. So they were kind of on the old rules of as long as you can pay it, you can do it. Then they changed it to the second apron where you can't aggregate salaries, you start losing draft picks, you do all those things, and that's essentially old NBA versus new NBA. So the strategy has changed to kind of have some parity. So you just can't buy your way into a championship like Golden State did, just like we'll just pay the tax. So now they could have done some things to mitigate this and they didn't. So they do have some responsibility. And once again, the overarching thing about this whole podcast has been leadership. You get your new owner, Matt Ishbia, who is Mr. Rocket Mortgages, and he's built this massive business outside of sports. So he just doubles down. When you have a guy in James Jones who is a very good GM, extremely knowledgeable basketball player, and executive who was going in a different direction, and Ishbia just kind of pulled the trigger, and he's made these moves, and now these moves have put you in a really bad situation, and now this team is in a pretty bad way with no real future. And Bradley Beal holds all the chips because he has the no trade clause.
Yeah, so you bring up leadership. The thing about this with the Bradley Beal thing is apparently there's a lack of communication going on between the player, the coach, and the organization. So Bradley Beal is basically saying, he said he will reportedly waive his no trade clause for the Lakers, Heat, or Nuggets, right? So if he waived his no trade clause for the Heat, you would assume, based on salaries, that Jimmy would be the one coming back to that team. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but it is what it is. The thing is, Bradley Beal has come out and said they ain't telling me nothing. So I hold all the cards, so they got to come speak to me. He said that yesterday. So I don't know how this gets fixed. I don't know. Well, I mean, I do know how it gets fixed. They're gonna break it up, but I don't know. We're in a league in an era of sports where the players have a lot of power now. The no trade clause, the ability to hold out, the ability to basically flex their muscle allows them to dictate where they want to go unless you deal with somebody like Pat Riley who don't care. I'll sink the whole ship before I let you take advantage of me. I don't know where Bill ends up. I don't know what teams can absorb that unless I don't know what teams can absorb that.
My thing with this is, and I think Coach Bud is the head coach there. If you bench a player, have the conversation. Bradley Beal's been an NBA star, superstar, however you want to define him. He's always been a starter. He probably ain't not started since probably ever in his life. You're going to put him on the bench and you want people to act like men, then you have that conversation when you make that decision, not game time. Hey, you're going to be on the bench. You're creating more of a problem. And let's be real here. That's what kind of blew this situation up originally was coaches and players not getting along back when it was Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton. At a certain point, you got to figure out what's going on in Phoenix where we can't operate on a way where we can at least get along. Perpetual turmoil is not good for a business, for sure.
And you picking sides. When you in the DeAndre Ayton thing, you pick Ayton's side. And then in here,
not really. They jettisoned both of them. Honestly, it's just like,
well, yeah, they kind of you're right. They kind of just clean the slate. So,
which I don't think was the right answer either. I think that Monty Williams should have stayed.
It was foolish. What? Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know
what? Still could have
really
got KD.
Monty got all that money and he coaching his sons play basketball now. I think he probably happier than ever. Like, no pressure. I get it. Massive checks coming to the crib every day. And I ain't got to do nothing. Stay black and die.
And live.
Right.
So you had the Phoenix Suns. I don't know what's going to happen with them. I would love to see what happens with KD because KD also is going to be the guy that said, I ain't signed up to be one or two man army. And Devin Booker, if you lose both of them, Devin Booker's out. He's not going to have the same issue over and over again. But move on from there. Cam Whitmore. Now, this is intriguing. Cam Whitmore, the Rockets. The Rockets have not played Cam Whitmore. He's expressed frustration and confusion when asked what he needs to do to get more minutes. Ime Udoka has not allowed him into the rotation, or he has not worked his way into the rotation, however you want to look at it. When he does get in, he makes explosive plays literally every single time he gets in the game. He dunks on somebody. He steals the ball, a crazy block, a step back three, or whatever it is. He does it. If they do let him go, I would love to find a place for him somewhere on the Hawks.
I'm going to tell you, that's the reason that this is important to me. Two guys that I'm intrigued in that I would love to have on the Atlanta Hawks. Cam Whitmore of the Houston Rockets and Imani Bates of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Two wings. Imani, I think, will be an elite shooter. Cam Whitmore is the aggressive, slashing wing. If y'all can't find a place for him, then I got a place for him. With that being said, the Rockets have a couple moves I think they need to make. Fred VanVleet, I said since day one, they should have never taken him. They should have got James Harden, and they have proven me to be 100% right. And also, Dylan Brooks is probably time for you to go to. Just because, and it's not that Dylan's not a good basketball player. It's just that Amen Thompson is taking your spot, bro. You can go now.
You could put Amen Thompson at the 3 and leave Dylan Brooks at the 2.
No, Jalen Green at the 2.
Oh, yeah. Dylan Brooks, you out of there. Them robots, Amen and Asar?
Right.
Is it Asar?
Wait. And don't forget when healthy, Jabari will be the 4. And you still got Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore on the bench. It's just no place for Dylan. The old people got to go in this case. The young guys have played. They're playing well. That's where it's kind of tough on Cam Whitmore is I really just don't have a spot to play you because Dylan Brooks is here. Dylan Brooks is really eating his minutes.
But I mean, Dylan Brooks, and if you're gonna flip him, you get rid of Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet. Dennis Schroeder would have been a great addition. He was trying to be traded. I don't know of any other point guards that are on the block right now, on the trading block that you could go get. I don't know, because if you're gonna get rid of Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, you would assume that you want something back in return, somebody that can facilitate in return.
Yeah, you need that's what they need. They need a facilitator, and they need to get rid of Dylan Brooks. Especially James Harden made such more sense here than Fred VanVleet. Just
Yep.
Wait, hold on. What should they do? Like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, my friend.